Are you new to Marvel Rivals and still trying to find your preferred hero? Stick around, because today we're talking about the one that just became my favorite hero in the game. Hello everyone, Goodwin here. Today we're covering the second episode in our series called Noob Notes, where we take even the most basic of principles for the noobiest of noobs, and we help them get better at the game of Marvel Rivals. So today I want to talk about a champ that is often misunderstood. Today we cover Venom. Maybe the most unique tank I've played in this game so far. He's a very fun playstyle and can be very disruptive and frustrating for enemy teams. Essentially, he's the ultimate troll hero in Rivals, and I love it. So first I want to talk about who is Venom, what his backstory is, and how we get this idea that he is such a agent of chaos and this menace and just this unruly, just does not care about any sort of laws or morals or anything like that. He is just there to cause problems. So we're going to look at his lore a little bit. Now, first of all, we realize that he's an alien symbiote that initially bonded with Peter Parker and eventually was taken on by Eddie Brock as his host. Now, he was originally a sort of villain in the Spider-Man story, but then became what's known as an anti-hero. Canonically, in the comics and movies and whatnot, he is a very chaotic, multiple personalities, just can't, rein it in entirely. So sometimes that Venom takes over and he really causes a lot of issues for Eddie. What we see in his characteristics in the comics can help us to understand how he's played in the game. When I was first starting out playing Venom, I was having a lot of fun with him, but I was playing him all wrong. I learned I needed to embrace the menace. I needed to take that vibe and let it shape how I played. And I had to become the annoyance for the enemy team. I had to cause chaos for them. I had to distract them. I had to frustrate them. And when I started to learn that, things started to become a little bit more clear. So when I say play like a menace, what do I mean by that? So first of all, what we have to realize is that Venom is known as what's called a dive tank. And that is meant for attacking the back line and distracting your opponents and causing separation, getting them to move out of formation, and essentially disruption. He is just there to cause problems. He is meant to be annoying. He is meant to be an agent of chaos. His survivability is sneaky good. Between his health regain on his E and his swing escape on his shift, and then his ult also helps to steal some life away from the opponent. So we'll look at his kit here in a second. But being a melee hero, he has to get up in their faces. You really have to play close with him, and that's where you're going to find your bread and butter. You're going to get up in their faces, you're going to cause a whole bunch of problems for them. If you try to sit on point and they come to you, they're all going to get super annoyed at you, and they're all going to hard focus you, and it's going to get you killed a lot. You're going to suffer a lot of KOs because they just don't like Venom. They know his potential and they want him out. You need to focus on diving in, and you need to focus on causing damage and problems and chaos, and then you need to really focus on diving out, grabbing health, and then rinse and repeat. So dive in, cause problems, do damage, dive out, heal up, go back in. If you do this, you're going to find he's an incredibly effective hero. Let's take a look at his kit and his abilities. First thing I want to talk about is his swing, okay? This makes him incredibly mobile. He is able to cover extremely large distances in a very short amount of time, much like Spider-Man. He is probably the second fastest champ in the game for covering ground because of this. So this is a massive part of his kit. Another thing you need to understand, his ability to crawl on the walls. You press space to wall crawl, and while you're crawling, you can switch from crawl to run, and that gives you a whole lot more mobility and escapability. Escapability is a massive key to how Venom is played. You want to be able to dive out or escape, get health, and go back in and cause more problems. So you have a swing to get in. You have his wall crawl and run to position yourself, and then you have your swing to get out. What I usually do is I will use his swing to get into position. I will crawl for a bit. I'll perch on a wall. I'll give information to my team while his swing is cooling down, so that before I go in there and attack, I have an escape route built in. When you pair his swing and his wall crawl with his F, he becomes a crazy good sneak up option. Okay, this is what makes him an effective dive tank. Literally, he literally dives onto their backline. You want to use this strategically. As you can see, it bounces them up in the air. They lose control of their movement. This can make a backline panic, and that's exactly what you want, because then you've got them up in the air. You're going to use your right click, cellular corrosion. Watch this. His tentacles grab them, slows them down. It does damage over time, so you want to stay close to them. So next we're going to talk about his ultimate. It took a while for me to figure out how to use this one right. You want to use this ultimate on full health characters if possible, because he will eat health in proportion to the amount that they have. If you use it on someone who's almost dead, it is not going to give you as much health. Focus on the number down here, okay? Focus on his health here. When he hits all three, he just gained 533 extra health from how much he ate from them. This can be a massive lifesaver in certain situations. So what I want you all to focus on today is I want you to practice the details, okay? His wall run and crawl are a bit tricky to get the hang of. The directions on them can be confusing. So what I would recommend is either take him into the practice range, or while you're waiting for respawns or for a match to start, get on a wall, start moving around, use your WASD or your joysticks, really figure out the technique, work properly on those walls. Because if you don't get that practice, it can really mess up the whole rhythm of what you're trying to do with his dive mechanics. So know how to aim and time his dive. So we're going to want to make sure that when we dive in, we know exactly the combo that we're going to enact as soon as we hit. That can give you a massive advantage in the element of surprise and knowing how you're going to time your escape if you need it. Combo his left click with his melee. This one takes a little bit of practice. It's not difficult though. If you combo doing his left click into a melee, it cancels the animation and it gives a lot more damage in that combo. Use his ult and his E as life-saving mechanics when you're low on health. I know a lot of people say to combo the dive into his ult. I don't like that, because it then will take away that overall amount of health that you're looking at trying to get more from them. But if you use his ult as a life-saving mechanic, it can actually give you a whole lot more health than his E can, and that's going to buy you more time to use his swing and get out. So use his ult and his E as a way of escape, because if you die, you're respawning, you can't cause any trouble, you can't do damage, you can't be a dive tank. It can make it hard for your opponents to regroup if you're constantly going in, doing damage, causing trouble, and then getting out, regrouping, and then getting back in before they've had a chance to collect themselves. The combo that I use most is I perch on a wall, I will crawl on that wall until I get a good perspective. I make call outs to my team, which ones are pushing up first and which ones are flanking. And while I am doing that, not only is my team able to find a better way to attack them, but we're also letting my swing cool down. That way, I dive in, I tether, and then I attack with melee. I'll do a ton of damage, I'll disorient them, and I have the ability to swing out if they see it coming, because my swing is already on cooldown. So I go in, I disorient, but I also give myself a way of getting out of there. And that is key for playing Venom. So you have to understand the mentality. And I didn't when I first started playing Venom. When I first started playing Venom, I got it all wrong. I had this image in my mind of what a tank should look like, and I tried to play that way, and it was wrong. So I needed to learn to be aggressive, get in there, cause trouble, get out, regroup, and do it all over again. Because the more you do that, the more effective you're going to be with Venom. I had to think of it like a dive bomber. I had to swoop in, strike, swoop out, and make another pass. The most important thing to remember is to practice his combos and how not to die. It is very easy to overextend yourself with Venom, so you need to really be cognizant of your health and who's actually there to help you, because if you don't have healers, or if your healers are focusing on somebody else, then you're going to want to make sure that you are your own healer. So I want to summarize by saying that Venom is probably the most fun that I've had playing on any hero in this entire game. I have intentionally played with all of them to make sure that I knew which ones I liked the most, and I will tell you what, once I figured out Venom, whole game changed for me. I can play solo queue, all those people insta-locking DPS. I don't have to worry about that because I'm a tank. If you get paired with a good healer and a Spidey or a Penny, this guy's insane. The potential he has is crazy good. But he takes a good amount of practice. He has a 1-star skill rating in the game, which does not make sense to me. I never trust the ratings they give people in this game, because a 1-star rating for Venom, with the amount of practice that his actual kit takes to use effectively, it's misleading, so don't trust it. In my opinion, he is the most satisfying character to play with in the game. Everyone's got their own opinions, and that is fine. This game has so much variety, which is what makes it fun. But in my opinion, he's often the most satisfying tank in the game, sometimes even champ. So tell me in the comments if you agree. Are you a Venom main? Have you been using him lately? If so, let us know what some of the tips and tricks you have found to use him more effectively are. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.